Hello, I'm Governor Eric Holcomb, and I'm proud to join you virtually to celebrate Indiana's 204th birthday. This year's theme of celebrating a diverse Indiana is so important because our state is full of people from different backgrounds and experiences. And that diversity makes our Indiana a great place to live, work, and play. Each one of you comes from a different walk of life. You've experienced things from a different perspective no one else has, and that's so important. Indiana is a better place when a diverse group of people come together to face our shared challenges. That's how we make history. But you know, history isn't just about the past, pictures in a book or things you might see in a museum. History happens every single day, and you're part of it. While we celebrate Indiana Statehood Day, remember, it's just as much about the future as it is about the past. So be prepared, work hard, do the right thing by your parents and teachers, be loyal to your friends, and live a life that makes us, and more importantly, yourself, proud. I can't wait to see all the things you accomplish to make your town and our state a better place to live, work, and play.
Hello, I'm Jim Johnson, and today we're at the Indiana Statehouse, and we're talking about Statehood Day. Did you know that December 11th is Statehood Day? What is Statehood Day? Well, you know, we live in the United States, and as the name implies, these are states who are united together to make a nation. A state has a defined geographical area, a certain border. It may be New York on the East Coast, California on the West Coast, or maybe Indiana, right here in the middle of the country. There are 50 states in the United States. However, going back in history, we have not always had 50. When the nation was just beginning, there were only 13. They were called colonies or states. Our state was once part of the Northwest Territory. The Northwest Territory is on this map. This is a large area in the middle part of the country. If you can picture what is now Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, and part of Minnesota, you have an idea now of how large the Northwest Territory was. Now let's talk about an important year in Indiana history, 1816. 1816, the state's population was over 60,000. The leaders of the state were now in a city on the southern section of Indiana, a city called Corydon. You can see Corydon here. That's the red star on the map. Corydon is way down south near the Ohio River. That was the first capital of Indiana. The leaders of the state were in Corydon. A group of them, 43 to be exact, got together to write a state constitution. They worked through most of June that year. Sometimes they sat under the shade of a giant elm tree. Soon the Constitution was finished and signed by all 43 people. The Constitution and the papers involved were sent to the United States government in Washington, D.C. These documents made up the application for statehood. President James Madison approved the papers, and he signed them on December 11th, 1816. There's the date, December 11th, 1816. You could say that that's the birthday of Indiana, December 11th. Indiana became the 19th state to join the United States. Remember that number. We're number 19. This is the Indiana state flag. Guess how many stars? You guessed it, 19 stars on the Indiana state flag. Now, 204 years later, we still celebrate Indiana's birthday on December 11th. We call it Statehood Day. Happy birthday, Indiana. This is Jim Johnson at the Indiana Statehouse.
Today is such a wonderful day to be a Hoosier as we celebrate Indiana's 204th birthday, the day we officially became a state. I hope you're excited to learn more about your state history and how your state government works, and you will be inspired to become involved as you grow older. All around you here at the State House are portraits and everyday lessons from heroes and leaders in Indiana's history. One of my favorite presidents, who spent his formative years right here in Indiana, Abraham Lincoln, once said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." And I know that is true. Did you know Indiana is one of the only states in the country that gives special duties to the lieutenant governor? I am president of the Indiana Senate. If there's ever a tie when they vote, then I cast the tie-breaking vote. No pressure, right? One of the most important things I did this year is to help count all the people in Indiana. And why is it important for us to know how many people live in our state? Because more people means more money for our state to spend on you and all your futures. Well, did you know that over 100 years ago, your moms would not have been able to go vote with your dads? Because women were not always allowed to go do the same things that men were. That doesn't seem fair or right, does it? So this year, as we celebrate Indiana's 204th birthday, we are celebrating a monumental anniversary that helped bring diversity to our government. This year is our 100th anniversary of women getting the right to vote, just like men. As Lieutenant Governor, I serve as the chair of the Women's Suffrage Centennial Commission in Indiana, and it celebrates Indiana's ratification of the 19th Amendment, which gave us the right to vote. Although women make up about 51% of the population, we only make up about 29% of all state legislators nationwide. But 5 of the 7 statewide elected officials in Indiana are women. And our Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice Loretta Rush, is the first female Supreme Court Chief Justice in our history. Thank you for letting me join you all today. I hope you have fun and learn a lot. Remember, work hard, be fair, and think every day about how every decision you make affects not just you, but those around you. Just like the Golden Rule says, treat other people the way you want to be treated.
And my guest today is Adam Baker with the Department of Education. Thank you, Adam, for being with us today.
Thanks for having us. Happy to be here.
Well, it's pretty obvious, the Department of Education, we kind of have an idea of what you do, but tell us more about it.
Exactly. So, we have a model that's called Working Together for Student Success. And essentially that drives everything we do. So whether it's working with your educators, your teachers, your principals, even your parents sometimes, or whether that's downtown here in Indianapolis working with lawmakers to speak about a bill. All in all, our goal is to make sure you have a great academic experience, that you receive a good education, and that when you graduate someday, you're really ready for that world ahead of you.
Well, Adam, a lot of our audience today is made up of 4th graders, and I'm thinking of all the agencies in the state of Indiana, yours probably has the most impact on 4th graders. How so?
We do, right. So, it's interesting because there are a couple things we do that I think are very specific to you as children. So one of the things is right now you are learning about Indiana history. And so what we did a few years ago was we worked with some lawmakers to expand that study of Indiana into high school. So now when you get into high school, you will actually have that opportunity to learn more about Indiana, and not just history, but economics, Indiana geography, and even how government works. But another really interesting thing that we've done recently is we know it's important as a state that we are diverse. We know it's important that we talk about social justice and how we are all equal. And so one of the things we did was we had several of your teachers actually reach out to us to say, what are some creative ways that we could take social justice and we could talk about that in our class? And so we came up with some guidance for your teachers. And so now when you are in world languages or government or even history, you might find some of these lessons coming out where you learn a little more about social justice. So we're excited about that.
Sounds like a great program, and we're encouraged that high school students are studying more Indiana history.
Absolutely.
Here at the tour office, a lot of our audience is made up of fourth graders. We have visitors from around the world of all ages, but wow, the fourth grade is the age for this building.
Absolutely.
How can people contact your office?
Yeah, that's great. So obviously we're on social media. So if you go to Twitter, our handle is EducateIN for Indiana. You can also go to Facebook and find us in the same way. And then, a lot of our information is on our website. It's very easy. It's just DOE for Department of Education.in.gov.
Are there any new services or products you're coming up with?
So, this time is obviously very different. And as children, you might find that maybe some of you are at home learning on a computer full time. Maybe some of you are half in school, half online. And so we know that can be challenging, and we want to do what we can to continue making education fun and make sure you're continuing to learn and enjoy that. And so one of the cool things we came up with is called continuous learning challenges. And they're actually little challenges that are grade-based. So being in fourth grade, you can take these little challenges with your teacher and have a lot of fun at learning. And again, even though the environment may be different, we still want to make sure you receive a good quality education.
Adam, you're in the department that affects our fourth graders more than any other. And is there any advice you want to give to kids who are in school right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this time may look a little different than what you're used to, and you may be missing your friends, you may be missing your teachers. But I think what's really important is to remember every single one of us are going through this, even at work. Some of my friends aren't here like they used to be every day. And, I just encourage you to just continue learning, continue growing, continue to try to be a better individual because, we're going to be better together.
Adam Baker, thank you for taking time out to talk to us. I'm Jim Johnson, and our guest has been Adam Baker with DOE, Department of Education. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
My office is in charge of elections, registering businesses, car dealerships, and money professionals. You're most likely familiar with elections, especially after this year. Besides elections, we register all of the businesses in the state. This means if you start a business, you have to notify my office so we can keep a record of your business. And then if you sell a car, make a car, or destroy a car, you're licensed by my office as well. And last but not least, if you help people invest money, you must register with my office. You might wonder what we do with all of these registrations. Well, we keep public records of it so that you can look and see who's doing business in your community. As a fourth grader, it probably seems like you won't be able to vote for a long time. But trust me, you'll be able to vote before you know it. I urge you all to take this responsibility very seriously. When you turn 18, register to vote and make sure you cast your ballot. It matters because the people who run your school are elected. When your parents vote for school board, they're deciding who will make important decisions for your school. These people have the ability to decide if you come to school in person or you go to school virtually. They can even decide what you are served for lunch. Go to the website on your screen for more information about my office. In order to be an informed voter, you need to understand how government works. To learn more about Indiana government and how to be an active citizen, visit my civics website at the address below. Next, Money Wise Matters is a weekly blog published every Wednesday where we discuss money-related topics like saving, scams, and fraud. We also feature a video series called Mondays with Mac, where one of my staff members gives history lessons, fun facts, and reminders of upcoming election deadlines. In order to have a strong state, we need active citizens. To celebrate our state's birthday in diversity, I encourage you to be the first to say hello to a new student and welcome them to your school. If someone looks or sounds different from you, try to be friends and learn more about them.
And as most of us know, the State House houses all three branches of government. Today, we're fortunate to have a member of the executive branch, Kelly Mitchell. Kelly, hello.
Hello, it's wonderful to be here.
We know you're one of our executives. Which one are you?
I'm the state treasurer for Indiana.
And what do you do in that job?
Well, as state treasurer, I'm called the chief investment officer. That means that we collect that taxpayer money and then we make more money. So if you give me a stack of coins, I'm going to invest it to make that stack bigger.
What about your job that you would like fourth graders to know about?
Well, I'd like you to understand that what the treasurer does is really important, because when we safely take care of that taxpayer money and we can use it to make more money, then we can help pay for things like your schools, like the roads to get to your schools, public safety. So there are a lot of things that this money takes care of, and when we take care of it the way we're supposed to, we can make more of it to pay those bills.
Fourth graders aren't really out working, earning money yet, but are there ways that they can save money?
Oh, of course, absolutely. It's never too early to start saving. And as treasurer, I am the chair of the College Choice 529 program. So you'll see a little mortarboard over here. That is for graduation. You can start saving now. Ask your parents to open a 529 account for you and start saving for college now. It's never too early.
So that's called a 529 account.
It is College Choice 529.
Sounds like a good idea. Fourth graders may think they're only in the fourth grade, but it's amazing how fast they find themselves thinking about going to college. How can people find out more about your office and what you do?
Well, you can go to TOS for treasurerofstate.in.gov, and there are a lot of links that tell you about everything our office does. We even have a financial education link that will take you to about a 6-minute fun video that talks about what we do with taxpayer dollars and how we put them to work for you.
And that link will probably be at the bottom of the screen as we talk today, Kelly.
Wonderful.
Any new products or services that your office is offering?
Yeah, I would really like everyone to know that you can text to 911 anywhere in Indiana. So as treasurer of state, I am also chair of Indiana's 911. And since I took office, we have made it so anywhere in Indiana you can text for help. Now, voice is best, call if you can, but if you are having trouble speaking or having trouble hearing, or you don't want to be heard asking for help, then you can text to 911. Please always be sure to put your location, where you're at that moment, in that text.
As we celebrate Indiana's 204th birthday, what are some of the ways that we can celebrate the diversity in our state?
Oh, just so many ideas, but I'm going to focus on one, being a woman in politics. I think Indiana knocks it out of the park. As far as our statewide elected officials, most of us are women, and that's really unusual in the country. Only 25% of statewide elected officials are actually female around the country. So Indiana does really well. I'm the 4th female state treasurer, and I encourage any of you to get to know who represents you in office, and just think, as you grow, why you might want to serve in public office.
Well, to our audience, we should say, start saving your money. And when you save money, think of our guest today, Kelly Mitchell, the treasurer of the state of Indiana. Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And I'm Jim Johnson with the tour office here at the Indiana State House.
Hello to all of you Indiana fourth graders out there. Happy Statehood Day. My name is Curtis Hill and I'm Indiana's Attorney General. I'm the 43rd person to serve in this role over Indiana's 204-year history. And my office essentially functions as the law firm representing our state government. We have a staff of more than 350 people, and we go to court when necessary on behalf of the legislature or any of Indiana's state agencies and offices. We also keep convicted criminals locked up by defending their convictions on appeal, and a lot more. We have a consumer protection division where we look out for Hoosiers by making sure businesses aren't lying or cheating you out of money or selling you things that are dangerous. When we hear reports of bad conduct, we investigate, and sometimes we file lawsuits to go get money back for people who are wrong. To learn more about our office, just go to indiana.gov/Attorney General or find us on Facebook or Twitter. Now, the theme of this Statehood Day is celebrating diversity. You know, Indiana has more than 6.5 million people, individuals from every kind of background and description. And Indiana's greatness comes from all of our contributions, from boys and girls, men and women, folks of all these different races and colors and beliefs. Throughout these past 204 years of statehood, we in Indiana have not always treated everybody the same. Our laws have not always given everybody equal measure of dignity and respect. That's true everywhere in America. But I believe that our potential for improvement is very strong. You know, when I was a youngster, there had never been anyone with my skin color to serve as Indiana's Attorney General, or as President of the United States for that matter. So we have made some progress. Now you might say, but there still has never been a black person serve as Indiana's governor. And that's true. Or there has never been a woman serve as Indiana's governor or as President of the United States. But those barriers will come tumbling down as well. And I know that your parents and teachers and others in your lives have the highest of hopes for all of you, for all the things you will be and do and achieve. I encourage each of you to work hard to serve your communities and serve causes you believe in, causes bigger than just your own self-interest. Try to make a positive difference in the lives of people around you. If you care about other people that way, you can and will do great things, things that matter, and things that help make our already great state even better. So happy 204th birthday, Indiana, and thanks for listening.
Hello, I'm Indiana State Auditor Tara Klutz. As your state auditor, I serve as the state's Chief Financial Officer, making sure Indiana's financial records are properly recorded and that we pay all the state's bills accurately and on time. I am a member of the executive branch of state government and must be elected or re-elected every 4 years. Each year, my office distributes billions of dollars. That money goes to vendors who provide products and services. It goes to counties, cities, and towns. It also goes to all the state's employees. My office is responsible for many diverse functions. Let's hear from a few people in my office about their job duties.
Hi y'all, my name is Jocelyn and I work in the payroll department. My job is to make sure that all state employees get paid correctly. We pay judges, state legislators, state police officers, workers at the BMV, and even the governor. Every 2 weeks we send out about $69 million and we pay over 30,000 state employees.
Hi, I'm Perrette and I work for the Accounts Payable Department. I review payments to make sure that they are accurate before we issue a check. These bills are for things like road construction, IT services, building maintenance, utilities, and office supplies. Just like the bills you may get at your house, we have to make sure that there is enough money in our account to pay them.
Hi, I'm Kim from the Local Government Division. I work with cities, counties, towns, and schools to make sure they get their share of the tax dollars that the state collects. We send that money out monthly, and it helps pay for things like pothole repairs, new roads, school buildings, and other projects where you live.
Hello, I am Clay Jackson, a CPA, and I am the Director of the Accounting and Reporting Division. My department is responsible for keeping track of all the state's money so Hoosiers can feel confident it is being spent appropriately. Many of the people in my division are accountants. We produce an annual report, which is called the CAFR, Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, and this report lists all the money spent by the state and how much money we have left in our accounts.
We have a very unique, amazing staff that do so many different things for the state. I hope you enjoyed meeting some of them. I enjoy working with my team and learning about their different backgrounds. We all have a part to play in ensuring the state's finances are both transparent and accurate. Being the state's chief financial officer is fun, challenging, and rewarding, and you don't have to be an accountant to work here. I hope when you grow up, you will consider working for the government, and maybe even the auditor's office.
The Indiana House of Representatives is one of the two chambers that comprises the Indiana General Assembly, which is the body that creates laws for the state of Indiana.
So we have 100 members, whereas the Senate has only 50 members.
The House of Representatives and the Senate are based on population. I represent about 64,472 people. The Senate is double of that, so they'll represent over 120,000 people. The main purpose of the legislator is to be able to speak on your behalf while you're in school or while your parents are at work. We come up to Indianapolis, we make laws that affect you each and every day, from whatever the speed limit might be, to wearing a seatbelt, to being in the back of the car and making sure nobody's using the cell phone while they're driving. So we make the laws to help protect you and make your life better.
The legislative process begins with the legislator that has an idea. So this is an idea that they get from their constituents, and then they have that idea turned into bill form. And after that has become a bill, they then introduce it to the House, and then it goes through a few stages. So for one, it goes to committee. The committee will either hear the bill or not hear the bill. If it comes out of committee, it comes to the House floor for second reading.
All 100 of us get together and talk about bills, talk about issues, and talk about things that are important to you.
If it advances past second reading, it then goes to third reading, which is a total yes or no vote on the whole bill. Then that process repeats in the other chamber.
Indiana is a part-time legislature. I actually am a high school principal. I run a school every day of the year. Originally, the concept of a part-time legislature was to assure that we kept in connection and kept in contact with our local government, so that we would meet you at Walmart and be able to know who you are and call you by your name and be face to face.
The best way for a state representative or a legislator in general to be able to accurately represent the interests of his district is for the constituents of that district to reach out, let them know what they're feeling, let them know what's on their mind. And when they do that, the legislator is able to grasp what is important to those people and is able to reflect that on the House floor when they vote on bills.
Typically, there's about 1,000 people on any given day that can come in and out of the State House. You will see people from all parts of the state of Indiana. You'll meet people from northern Indiana, you'll meet people from central Indiana, you'll meet people from southern Indiana. But the one thing they all have in common is they want to look out for what's best for the state of Indiana and have their opinion heard. And you have the opportunity to do that as well. If you come and you participate, you have the opportunity to be a part of your government.
Hello, my name is Senator Bray, and I would like to welcome you to the Indiana State House. The State House, located in Indianapolis, is home to Indiana's three branches of government. The legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch all work together to pass, enforce, and uphold the laws in Indiana. This is the Indiana Senate chamber floor. This is where bills are heard by the full Senate, talked about, and voted upon to become a law. Many important conversations have taken place on the Indiana Senate chamber floor that have helped form Indiana into the great state that it is. As the President Pro Tem, I am the leader of the Indiana Senate and the other 49 senators who come from all different backgrounds across Indiana to serve you. Let me introduce you to a few of them.
Hi, my name is Senator Jean Lysing, and I serve Senate District 42, which includes all or parts of 7 counties. This is the Indiana Senate Majority Caucus Room, and it's where I meet with fellow senators to talk about upcoming issues and brainstorm new bill ideas. All 3 branches of Indiana's government work together in the same building to have a strong, free Indiana.
Hi, my name is Senator J.D. Ford, and I serve Senate District 29. This is the Indiana Senate Minority Caucus Room. This is where I meet with my fellow senators to talk about upcoming issues. A caucus is a group of people who share something in common, such as their political party, and who are united to work on similar projects and causes. We are known as the Crossroads of America, not only because roads cross through our state, but because we welcome everyone and anyone traveling through Indiana as if they were family.
Hi, my name is Senator John Crane, and I represent Senate District 24, which represents Hendricks and Putnam County, just west of Indianapolis. In the State House, we meet in different meeting rooms. In fact, we're right here in the room 233, where we have committee hearings and task force to meet and discuss different bills that could become law. In addition to that, the committee rooms are places where the public can come and talk to committee members. So we as senators get to hear from you and the things that you care about as you share your opinions on the bills. With 50 Hoosiers in the Senate and 100 Hoosiers in the House of Representatives, everyone here in the General Assembly is working together to serve Indiana and all of our Hoosier residents.
Hi, my name is Jean Breaux, and I am State Senator for District 34 in Indianapolis. The caucus rooms here are important to the inner workings of the Senate because they allow the senators with similar interests to meet and talk about individual ideas or problems in detail. Indiana is the Hoosier state because we are a state full of hardworking, strong individuals moving towards a bright future.
Hi, my name is State Senator Mark Messmer, and I serve Senate District 48. In the State House, there are many meeting rooms. This meeting room is room 431, where committees and task force meet to discuss bills before they become law. Meeting room 431, like the other meeting rooms, also allow TV, radio, and newspaper reporters to sit and listen so they can share information with people throughout the state. The Senate is full of all kinds of good people, and we all work together to make Indiana a great place to live, work, and play.
Since Indiana became a state in 1816, the Indiana General Assembly has worked to uphold the values that we all hold dear and to improve the lives of the people who call our state home. Our state is full of many different and exceptional individuals who come together to form amazing communities.
From farmers to bankers, grocery clerks to legislators, all the residents of Indiana are important to our state. What makes us a state, what makes us Hoosiers, are the people who live here, work here, and raise families here.
As we celebrate our statehood today, we remember the people who have worked to make Indiana the state that it is. The General Assembly has strived to uphold Indiana's long tradition of resilience during these tough times, as well as advancing periods of prosperity and economic growth for our state.
Thank you for recognizing and celebrating Indiana's statehood.
Thank you for joining us here at the State House. I hope you enjoyed meeting some of the senators who work so hard to represent our state's diverse population. I look forward to the next time you can visit our beautiful Indiana State House.
Hello, I'm Chief Justice Loretta Rush. I have my 4 colleagues from the Indiana Supreme Court with me here today to celebrate Statehood Day. We usually do this in person. I usually do this with the governor in the State House, and my colleagues do it in different facilities around the state. But we're glad to be with you and pleased to talk to you about the theme of this year's Statehood Day, celebrating a diverse Indiana. Before joining the Supreme Court, I was an attorney in a law firm, and then I was also a trial court judge. Each of my colleagues comes from different backgrounds, and I want to introduce themselves to you. Justice David.
Hello, I'm Justice Stephen David. I used to be a trial court judge in Boone County. The five of us hear cases called oral arguments in the state courtroom that was used starting in 1888. The courtroom is one of two rooms in the State House where you can see stained glass from inside. The windows resemble owls, symbolizing wisdom.
Hi, I'm Justice Mark Massa. I previously served in various positions in state and federal justice systems and as a practicing lawyer, and before that as a news reporter. There have been 110 justices on the Indiana Supreme Court since 1816. We're not elected. Instead, we go through a process called merit selection, where we interview with a committee, the governor makes an appointment, then voters are asked whether we should remain on the bench.
Hello, I'm Justice Jeffrey Slaughter. Before becoming a justice, I worked as a lawyer both in law firms and in government. Our state constitution gives the Indiana Supreme Court the important duty to deliver justice through our opinions and orders. As part of our duties, my colleagues and I do a lot of reading and writing.
Hello, I'm Justice Christopher Goff. I served as a trial court judge in Wabash County before I became a justice. As my colleagues said, we hear oral arguments, do a great deal of reading and writing, and when we make a decision about an issue, it's based on the law. You can read all of our decisions and watch the cases we hear live online at courts.in.gov. You can also follow us on Twitter at InCourts.
So in conclusion, many of us work for the judicial branch, and we're all here to serve you. There are over 200 Supreme Court employees that work for our court. We have nearly 700 judges or judicial officers all around the state. I think you've got one in your county at your courthouse. And many other justice stakeholders like probation officers, problem-solving court staffs, court reporters, prosecutors, defenders, bailiffs, and others. We're glad to celebrate Statehood Day with you, and we hope that you think about a career in public service. Happy Statehood Day. Thank you.
With me today is Jeanette Gobin, and she's with the tour office too. Jeanette, tell us what the tour office does here at the State House.
Well, the tour office is basically here to welcome people to Indianapolis, to the State House, and to show off this beautiful State House that we have here in Indiana. It's one of the largest state houses in the nation, and something that we can all be very proud of, and we love showing it off to people from Indiana, students in particular, but also from people all over the country, and we've even shown it off to people all over the world. So we kind of consider ourselves the first-line ambassadors, sharing Indiana with the people who come to visit us here at the State House.
Yes, we give tours to all age groups, but in Indiana, the fourth graders study Indiana history, and we get more fourth graders here than practically any other age group, I would say. What is it that we want fourth graders to know about the State House?
Well, I think two of the really important things that they need to know is that this State House belongs to them. It is a big, beautiful building, and it belongs to all of us who live here in the state of Indiana. Because we have such a great, big, beautiful building, we also have all three branches of state government functioning in this building: the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And I think knowing that all of those are here, that they can come and see where that happens, that's pretty important.
To a lot of fourth graders, this building looks sort of like a castle or a palace. Explain a little bit about the architecture here.
Well, the building was completed in the year 1888, and it is built to be very permanent and beautiful. So it's made of Indiana limestone. That's one of the great natural resources for our state, And we use a lot of it to build big, beautiful buildings. The Empire State Building and the Pentagon are Indiana limestone, so it's not just used here in Indiana. We also have lots of beautiful marble and granite, a lot of Indiana white oak, and just the beautiful architecture that makes this such an amazing place.
And this building looks a lot like a museum, and it is sort of a museum, but is it still a working building?
Absolutely. The Supreme Court is here on the 3rd floor of the building, Court of Appeals on the 4th floor. The legislative branch is here with the Senate and the House of Representatives and offices for all of our legislators, as well as the working office spaces of our 7 state executives.
And the governor still has an office here?
Yes, he does. When he comes to work, he comes to the State House.
Well, now that we have their interest, how can people find out more about the State House and the tour office?
Well, they can go to our website, or they can also email us at touroffice@idoa.in.gov.
I understand that there's a virtual tour for those who can't come to the State House in person. Tell us about that.
Well, there are several different options on our website. There is a Women at the State House, at the Indiana State House tour virtual option that we did specifically for this year of 2020 in celebration of the centennial of women's suffrage. There are also links where you can see great photographs of different parts of the building, including the 3 branches of state government. And we have in the works an actual 360-degree virtual tour that we hope to have available soon.
It sounds like there are many, many ways that we can share this building with the public. As we celebrate Indiana's 204th birthday, what are some of the ways we celebrate diversity in the state of Indiana?
Well, I think one of the great ways that we can celebrate diversity in Indiana is to look at the natural part of Indiana. We're in a place where we have all 4 seasons. We have a great variety of plant life, animal life, landforms, and I think just getting out and enjoying all those different aspects of Indiana is a really great way to celebrate a diverse Indiana.
Well, thank you, Jeanette, for helping share this beautiful building with everybody in Indiana. I'm Jim Johnson with the tour office, and I've been talking to Jeanette Gobin, who's with the tour office here at the Indiana State House.
Thank you.
And my guest today is Bailey Hinton Matthews, who's with the State House Education Center. Well, the State House Education Center is something new for most Indiana residents. Bailey, what's it all about?
Well, the State House Education Center, it opened in 2016 as a signature project of Indiana's bicentennial. It is a really cool addition to our State House tours here, where we cover Indiana history and a lot of different Indiana civics and government.
I've been there, and I am impressed with the Education Center. It's very interactive. Can you give us a couple of ideas about that?
Well, we have voting booths where kiddos get the chance to practice voting. It's got a lot of very kid-friendly questions like, should we really have homework in school? Kids can vote on that. We also have a mock town where you can really see how different parts of state government work in your community. And then probably my favorite thing that we have is we have a huge model of the Indiana State House where you can get kind of a behind-the-scenes access to things you might not see on the tour.
That's what sticks in my mind after being there a couple of weeks ago, the beautiful scale model of this building that we're in today. Well, what is it that you'd like fourth graders to know as they leave the Education Center?
I want fourth graders to know that even though they are in fourth grade, 10, 11 years old, their voice is important. So anybody can come up with an idea for a bill, anybody can be a part of their government, and I want them to be proud of being Hoosiers and proud to be a part of their community.
Well, as you know, we're both with the tour office, and we do have fourth graders who, during normal times, will tour the building. So how does the Education Center supplement the tour of the building?
I like to think that The tour is the movie, and the State House Education Center is the trailer for the movie. So we don't get in depth of the things you will see in this building. However, we give a little bit of a background on the government process, the 3 branches of government, and I do have a really fun scavenger hunt that talks about the beginnings of just some random Jeopardy-like tidbits about Indiana.
What services are you offering now during the pandemic when many students are learning from home?
We have just finished up our Hoosiers at Home activities. We're working on getting some more stuff for the spring. We developed some curriculum that has fun, interactive programming, crafts. We're big crafters at the Education Center. So we're excited to get those out into the community.
I can vouch for the fact that Bailey has to be one of the most creative people working for Indiana state government. You should see some of the things she comes up with. What's the best way for people to find out about your education center?
The best way is checking out our website, or if you shoot me an email, my email's on the website as well. I will be able to get you any of the information you need, or make an appointment and come visit us.
As we celebrate Indiana's 204th birthday, we know that the birthday is December 11th.
Yes, I'm very excited.
What's one of the ways you can think of for us to help celebrate diversity in the state?
One of the ways I think that we could celebrate diversity is, like I said earlier, all 4th graders have great ideas, and they have different ideas. Somebody might like pizza, somebody might like French fries. That's a diversity idea. 4th graders could have bigger ideas than that can help their community, help their state. And I think that those ideas, no idea is too small. Get it out. We'll help you get it to state government.
I think we can tell by the way Bailey shows excitement and enthusiasm that the Education Center is a fun place for kids to be, to learn more about this building and the state of Indiana.
It's the best job in the world.
Thank you very much. This is Jim Johnson at the State House, and I've been talking to Bailey Hinton Matthews, who's with the State House Education Center. Thank you, Bailey.
Thank you, Jim.
We have a very special guest with us today. It's the President of the United States, Benjamin Harrison. Hello, Mr. Harrison.
Good day to you.
What's going on in Washington these days?
Well, a lot of activity in terms of bills being discussed and debated and voted on. One thing that I have been making very much emphasis on is pensions for Union soldiers and their widows and orphan children as a result of service during the Civil War, and it's been a hard-fought campaign, but I have finally gotten Congress to buy into that very important concept of supporting our vets.
Well, Mr. Harrison, a lot of the people in our audience today are 4th graders, 10-year-old children, and they may be wondering, how do you ever get to be President of the United States? Tell us about how you got to the White House.
Well, I come from a very politically active family, one of the greatest, most patriotic families in American history, if I might say that. My great-grandfather, Benjamin Harrison V, was one of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence in the Second Continental Congress. He chaired the committee that ultimately approved that wonderful government document creating our nation, and he becomes the first human being to read out loud in its entirety the actually approved Declaration of Independence, which becomes, of course, one of the 2 pillars of freedom in world history, along with the U.S. Constitution. My grandfather, William Henry Harrison, of course, was the first Indiana Territory governor and served many years with distinction in that capacity, and was ultimately elected the 9th President of the United States. My father, John Scott Harrison, in Ohio, was elected to the United States Congress.
We know that you were in the Civil War, and I think some of our students may be learning about the Civil War. Tell us a little bit about your activity in the Civil War.
Well, our governor, Oliver P. Morton, asked me to recruit volunteers to join the Union Army during the early stage of the Civil War. As a patriot wanting to do as much as I could for the March of Freedom and supporting the efforts of the Union Army, I quickly recruited a very large group of volunteers that became the 70th Infantry Regiment, and I quickly ended up commanding this regiment, fought in many battles, and as a result of my service, one of my heroes, President Abraham Lincoln, actually appointed me to the rank of Brigadier General for my war service. One of the things that I am very proud of in my life.
We know now that you're president. We all know you're living in the White House. Do you also have a home in Indiana?
Yes, my lovely wife Caroline, First Lady, and I built a beautiful home here in the downtown area, which we truly enjoy.
Now we're going to shift gears a little bit and move to the more current day. And I'm going to reintroduce my guest now as Charles Braun. Charles Braun, an attorney from Indianapolis who pretends to be Benjamin Harrison. Welcome back to our interview, Mr. Braun.
My pleasure.
How did you ever become Benjamin Harrison?
Well, there are born athletes and born musicians. I was a born public servant when I was learning the ABCs. On my own initiative, I decided to learn the presidents of the United States in chronological order, and then went on to get a political science degree from the great Indiana University and a law degree. And I've always had a strong interest in history. We have to always be aware of history so that we can avoid the mistakes of the past. And it all fell into place.
What do you want kids to know about Mr. Harrison, the 23rd president?
He was a proponent of education, as well as his grandfather. His grandfather, of course, is, like I said, one of only two presidents who can lay claim to founding a university or college. One is the great Thomas Jefferson, who founded the University of Virginia. The only other president is my grandfather, William Henry Harrison, who founded Vincennes University, which continues today to be a great and one of the oldest continuous operated universities in America. And he was an education president, and Benjamin Harrison was an education president. During his presidency, he established the requirement that the American flag be posted outside every public school in America, a tradition that continues through today. And it was done by President Harrison to emphasize to the young people of America, the future leaders of our great nation, that no nation can long survive without patriots practicing patriotism.
Benjamin Harrison and Charles Braun, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. It's been an honor.
It's the Indiana State Library and Historical Bureau's mission to support your local public libraries, preserve Indiana history, and provide opportunities for you to learn or teach about the history of Indiana and the local communities around Indiana. We want you to know that we don't just work for adults. We run the Statehood Day essay contest for 4th graders and a writing contest in the spring called Letters About Literature, where students from grades 4 through 12 write to an author about how their book has impacted their life. Our agency has librarians and historians working here. The librarians are here to help answer your questions, digitize materials, and make information findable. We collect books, maps, pictures, newspapers, posters, and other printed items. We work to preserve these printed things so that years from now, hundreds of years from now, it will still be available to researchers and students just like you. Our historians work hard to tell those stories today. The historians are finding fun and interesting stories from the past. What has happened here? Why is it this way now? Has anyone been through this before? How did those people handle it, and what can we learn from that? We hope that together, we can make history fun and interesting. The best way to find out more about what we do is through our website, in.gov/library. Check out our digital collections to look at a lot of neat stuff from our collections online. This includes pictures, maps, pamphlets, and diaries. You'll also find our blogs and links to social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. There are lots of fun and interesting topics being discussed on there. We're excited to offer a virtual field trip since your classes can't visit us this year. This is an interactive way to learn more about the Indiana State Library and Indiana history. We also have been posting interviews with Indiana authors on Facebook and YouTube. In these fun and short videos, you can watch Sammy the Toucan interview a diverse selection of authors from Indiana. We think that the best way to celebrate diversity in our state is to read. Reading is also a great way to explore diversity. You can read biographies about people that are different from yourself, or read realistic fiction that puts you in a special time and place. Another great way to celebrate is to take a driving tour with your family and visit some of the 650 plus historical markers around the state. These markers tell stories about many different kinds of Hoosiers and a variety of events that have happened right here in Indiana. You could read about them before setting out or as you go. Thank you for joining the Indiana State Library and Indiana Historical Bureau and celebrating Indiana's 204th birthday.
We're pleased today to welcome to our Statehood Day celebration, Claire Horton, who is the Deputy Director of the Indiana State Archives and Records Administration. Hi, Claire.
Hi.
Tell us a little bit about your agency and what the purpose or mission is, please.
The Indiana State Archives protects and provides access to state government records. That means that we have state documents going back all the way to even before Indiana became a state 204 years ago, all the way to today. Some of the things you could find at the state archives include the state constitutions, Civil War records, and Supreme Court cases. We also have more recent records that are used all the time by people applying for jobs or going back to school.
That's great. What are a couple of things that you would like fourth graders in particular to know about the archives? What are some things at the archives that might affect them directly?
I want fourth graders to know that as Indiana citizens, our state government records belong to you. We keep our records in a vault for safekeeping and so that future generations can use them, but they're still open for anyone who might want to come see them. If you wanted to learn more about your ancestors or about Indiana's history, you could come to the archives. Visiting any archives is a great way to learn using primary sources, which are first-hand original accounts.
Okay, great. Well, what's the best way for people to get in contact with the archives? And what are some ways that you are reaching out to them as well?
You can find us on Facebook or Twitter. We're even on Reddit now. And you can find us on Facebook as the Indiana Archives and Records Administration. And we share a lot of photos there and different things that you might find interesting.
I know I'm hooked up with you on Facebook, and I think it's really exciting, the variety of history that you put out on your Facebook page. And it's kind of, oh, well, now I know a little bit, let me go learn some more. And I think that's really special. So this year with Statehood Day, we are celebrating a diverse Indiana. So what's one of the ways that you think that we should be celebrating? What kind of diversity should we be celebrating here in Indiana?
Well, I think that the more we learn about people who call Indiana home, both today and throughout history, the more we can understand how our similarities and differences make us all Hoosiers and leads to having a more open mind.
Well, Claire, thank you for being here today. Thank you for sharing with us about the Indiana State Archives and Record Administration. And hopefully our students will have an opportunity then to come and visit you and learn more about Indiana.
Thank you.
Well, joining us here today, again, in our statehood celebration is Jason Edwardson, and he is here from the Indiana War Memorials Commission. And I'll let him tell you what his different positions are there at the commission.
Yeah, so the Indiana War Memorials Commission, their main goal is to honor the service and sacrifice of Indiana's veterans, whether that be the veterans of a war that Indiana wasn't even a state during, the Revolutionary War, or all the way through the modern conflicts in the Middle East. We have a museum set up that is a full-feature museum. You're going to see everything in there, from the guns to the uniforms. We also manage all of the monuments downtown, which includes the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, the big tall one that turns into a Christmas tree during the holiday season. The Indiana War Memorial monuments dedicated to World War II, Vietnam, and Korea. Also 9/11 and USS Indianapolis. So we really do try to include all conflicts because Indiana has a rich military history.
Okay, what are one or two things that you would like fourth graders to know about the war memorials and how it affects them?
So, as I mentioned, Indiana really does have a rich military history dating all the way back to pre-statehood through the Revolutionary War. And many of the families in Indiana have been here for nearly 200 years. So, pretty much everybody in this state has a connection to the military, whether that be through a great-grandfather, grandfather, father, uncle. And our museum serves as a place that memorializes them. Now, we do have something really special in our museum, and that is a complete list of all 135,000 individuals who served during World War I. So if you have a great-grandfather that served during World War I, his name is physically in that building. We also have little kiosks set up around our museum as well, to where you can look up other family members that served in various conflicts. So it's really trying to give you a glimpse into what your ancestors lived through during those conflicts.
Well, that sounds like a great resource, especially for students who are doing genealogy projects. Mm-hmm. So what's the best way for people to kind of get in contact with the war memorials?
So the best way to get in contact with the war memorials is through our website, www.in.gov/IWM. That is the best resource to get to all the different departments you would need. My name's on there, and my email address is also in there under the tours portion of it. And we are also giving tours now. We are adhering to social distancing, sanitization, face masks, all of that. You just need to get a hold of me. We are also currently doing test runs of virtual tours. So if you want a virtual tour of the War Memorial and the Shrine Room and all that, we can make it happen. It may be a little bumpy, but we'll make it work.
Well, that sounds good. I think another project that I'm aware of, having gone to a recent ceremony, is the expansion of the 9/11 Memorial. Mm-hmm. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, so we are, I believe, currently in the fundraising process of it. We acquired a piece of the Pentagon. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Pentagon's facaded or faced with Indiana limestone. During the attacks of 9/11, it took damage from one of the planes, and we have received one of the pieces off of the Pentagon. It is kind of in the shape of Indiana too, which is kind of cool, but we are currently in the process of redesigning the 9/11 monument down by the canal to include that piece. So we're really excited about it, and it'll give it one more Indiana connection to that memorial down there. So,
well, we'll look forward to that. One last question for you, as we are celebrating Indiana's 204th birthday. We are celebrating Indiana diversity. Mm-hmm. What part of diversity do you think that the students should consider as part of this celebration?
Right. So over the course of the 204 years of Indiana's history, a diverse group of people have actually joined the military to help. In fact, at the War Memorial, we do have the original battle flag of the 28th U.S. Colored Regiment that served. It was Indiana's only regiment of African-American soldiers during the Civil War. We also have the Distinguished Service Cross from France that Aaron Fisher, an African-American Hoosier, the most decorated African-American Hoosier from Indiana during World War I, in our museum. So I'd say look into the diversity in not only the military, but also in your state. Whether it be go find a new food that you haven't tried, or listen to some new music, go to a cultural institution around the city. Just learn more about what makes up Indiana, because it is a very, very diverse group of people, and a lot of times just looking around, you won't see it until you look for it. So
and at the same time, we all come back together as Hoosiers.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
No problem.
Appreciate your time, and hope that the students will take an opportunity to come and visit you at the Indiana War Memorial.
Definitely. I look forward to seeing them.
My guest today is Anthony Swinger, and you're with the Indiana OUCC. Okay, explain what that is.
The Indiana Office of Utility Consumer Counselor. I know it's a mouthful, but you can call us the Consumer Counselor's Office or the OUCC. We're a state agency, and we represent consumers in the utility regulatory process. Here's what that means. When you flip an electric switch or you turn the water on, you want to make sure that the electricity comes on, the water comes out, it's all the way that it's supposed to be, and your parents, grandparents, and neighbors want to make sure they're paying a fair rate for what they're getting. So that's what we are involved in. We have a very complicated but important process here at the state level to help make sure that you're getting utility service that's reliable and at a reasonable cost. That's what we focus on every day.
Well, Anthony, this is something we can all relate to. We all have electricity, right? Most of us have water in our houses, and we're using a sewer line and gas line. So this is important to all of us. What would you like a fourth grader to know about your job?
What we'd like you to know is that we've got a lot of hardworking, dedicated public servants who are very intelligent and work very hard behind the scenes every day to help make sure that you're getting the utility services you need when you need them, and that you're paying a fair rate for them. Anything you can do around the house to help save energy, turning lights off, doing any number of other things is a good thing to do. Helping your parents save water, keeping things safe around the house. Those are all things that we encourage everybody to do, and we've got information online to help you do that.
Anthony, there's a term I've heard recently, something about a vampire user, and can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, vampire power, also known as phantom load. If you leave something plugged in, even when you're not using it, it's using a small amount of energy. Think of a phone charger, for example. If you leave a phone charger plugged in, even if you're not charging your phone, you just leave it plugged in, it is using small amounts of energy, and those small amounts can add up. And actually, phantom power can add up to a couple of $100s on an average electric bill for a house in a given year. So it may be a little bit of money here, a little bit there, but it does add up over time. And so that's why we tell people only have the charger plugged in when you need to have it plugged in.
I know when we talk about water, we measure water in gallons. How do we measure electricity?
Kilowatt hours. It's a very small unit of electricity. If you're an average house, you're using about 1,000 kilowatt hours a month.
How would a person get in touch with your agency and learn more?
We're online and we're on social media. If you go on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, we are at Indiana OUCC. Our website is in.gov/OUCC. We've got lots of information there, and encourage folks to check us out.
Are there any new services you've been offering lately?
We have a number of consumer publications that can help you and your families save energy, save water, do things more safely around the house. We have guides that can help your parents understand their utility bills and look for ways to save. And all that information is available on our website, and we post a lot about it on social media too.
Well, we're celebrating Indiana's 204th birthday. What's one way that we can celebrate diversity in the state?
Just be good to each other. It's the golden rule. It's not rocket science. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
That's good advice. Thank you.
Simple.
Thank you, Anthony. We've been talking to Anthony Swinger, a consumer education expert from OUCC. Thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good morning. Today I'd like to share with you the story of Madam C.J. Walker, the first Black female millionaire in the United States. Good morning, Madam.
Good morning.
Now, Madam was born Sarah Breedlove on December 23rd, 1867 in Delta, Louisiana. She was born to Owen and Minerva Breedlove, and they named her Sarah. She was the sixth child born to Owen and Minerva, and she was the first of their children born free. By the time Sarah was 7, both of her parents had died. And as a result, she went to live with her older sister and her older sister's husband. Now, her sister's husband was a very mean man. And when Sarah was 14 years old, she married a man named Moses McWilliams, just so she could have a home of her own. When Sarah was 18, she had a daughter, Lilia. But when Sarah was 20, her husband Moses died, making her a widow and leaving her with a 2-year-old to raise by herself. Sarah, wanting to better herself, realized the importance of education. Now, about this time, Sarah noticed that she was beginning to lose her hair. She tried many ointments and creams, but nothing seemed to work. So Sarah decided, I'm going to see if I can come up with something on my own. Sarah tried many concoctions. Some worked with limited success. But one night in a dream, different ingredients came to her, and Sarah decided that she would try them. She did. She put them together. She started using them on her hair, and it worked. Others saw the result that Sarah was getting, and they wanted to use some of her product too. Sarah called it Miracle Hair Grower. Soon, Sarah began selling her product door to door in Black neighborhoods in St. Louis. The product got so popular that Sarah began to hire people to sell her product. She sold it in Chicago. She sold it in New York. She sold it in Haiti. She even sold it in Cuba. Sarah had a headquarters here in Indianapolis, Indiana, but she was living in New York. In fact, Sarah loved New York so much that she built a huge home there in New York. It was called Villa Lewaro. It was a 34-room mansion that was over 20,000 square feet. Unfortunately, Sarah, who by this time was called Madam C.J. Walker, the initials of her husband, Charles Walker, was traveling quite a bit promoting her product. Sarah had a school, she had a manufacturing facility, and at one time, Sarah had trained over 3,000 people to sell and promote her product. But the system that she sold them was the walker system. She taught them how to walk. She taught them how to talk. She taught them how to promote her product. She taught them how to advertise her product. She taught them how to save money, and she taught them how to become independent agents. Sarah traveled so much that during a trip to St. Louis, she fell ill. And she came back to New York to spend some time in Villa Luaro so that she could rest before she set out on another business trip. Unfortunately, Madam never got well. She died in May of 1919 at the age of 51 years old. The cause of death was listed as hypertension. Her legacy lives on. Her products are still available today. You can go on QVC, Amazon, or Sephora to find her products. Her last manufacturing facility is here in Indianapolis. It's located at 617 Indiana Avenue, and it is called the Madam Walker Center.
War. Indiana's first Constitution served Hoosiers for over 30 years. Then, in the fall of 1850, a group of leaders met to make broader changes to the state constitution. The new Constitution strengthened the state's commitment to education and ensured that the state didn't spend more money than it brought in. This is like when you get an allowance from your parents. Our Constitution was written to make sure we don't spend more of our allowance from taxes. After over 150 years, we still live under this Constitution. That doesn't mean that our current rulebook is the exact same as it was in 1851. Sometimes we vote on amendments to the Constitution, which change the rules or make new ones. Our 1851 Constitution included an article that banned black people from moving to Indiana. A few years later, the state Supreme Court ruled that it goes against our Constitution to deny rights to United States citizens. Finally, in 1881, Hoosiers voted to repeal that article, and it was formally removed from the Constitution. The most important thing to know about our Constitution is that it can change in order to improve the lives of Hoosiers all across the state. We as citizens, big or small, can use our voice to make a difference here in Indiana. So, our state constitution represents something bigger than just rules. It provides us with the tools to make our government the best it can be.
Back on